Guys, I'm Saurav. Welcome to the channel. I'm so excited for today's video. You have read the title. We are doing architecture photography today. It's been 3 months since I've moved to Montreal, and this city has a very unique combination of ancient and modern architecture. In this video, we're going to move around the city, explore new places, and learn how to take amazing architecture photos. By the way, thank you Storyblocks for sponsoring this video and making this video possible. Starting with the gear, my two main lenses are going to be a wide-angle lens and a telephoto zoom lens. The wide-angle lens I'm using is the 14 to 24mm. It's pretty wide, it allows me to capture a wider perspective. The other lens is the 70 to 200mm, and this serves a very different purpose compared to the wide-angle lens. This helps me to get closer and capture a much tighter perspective. I have been loving this lens for architecture photography. It's heavy, but it's very versatile. You can get different kind of shots with just one single lens. When I'm approaching a scene, I straight away don't take out my camera and mount the lens to it. I take out my phone, open the camera app, and visualize the composition. If I'm using a wide-angle lens on my phone, I will mount the wide-angle lens. But if I'm using a telephoto lens and I'm zooming in more, I'm choosing the 70 to 200mm lens. Pretty straightforward, but makes the process of choosing the lens a bit easier. Sometimes when I go out, I don't have my camera with me. That time I still take out my phone, still take pictures, and if I like something, I note it down. Next time I go to that place, I make sure I take my camera with me. When it comes to architecture, the buildings are straight in real life. Well, most of them. And they look pretty straight to the human eyes, but unfortunately, the lenses don't function in the same manner. If you tilt your camera up, the lines will slowly start converging. If you tilt your camera down, it will start diverging. If that's the effect you're going for, it's completely fine. If that is intentional, you might also exaggerate it like I did in this picture. What if you don't want this effect? The only way to shoot straight line is to make sure you're shooting in a straight manner, meaning you're not tilting your camera up or down. Most of the times this is not possible. You will be pointing your camera upwards in order to get the whole building in frame. Well, there are two solutions. The first one is using a tilt shift lens. This lens is used by professional architecture photographers. I don't have one, they are very expensive. But in short, the lens shifts upwards so that you don't have to tilt the camera. Pretty cool, right? If you have the budget, you want to be a professional architecture photographer, you want to make a living out of it, I would definitely recommend getting a tilt shift lens. But if you're an amateur photographer like me, I would recommend to fix it in post. You can use Photoshop or Lightroom. I'm using Lightroom. Go to the transform panel, select this option, and now start drawing lines which you feel should be straight. The limit is 4. I'll draw one here and one parallel to it. I want two vertical lines as well, one here and similarly the other one here. And boom, you're done. You lose a bit of resolution because you're cropping the image. Anytime you see the lines are not straight, make sure you shoot a bit wider than usual so that when you crop the image, you don't miss the important details. Next, we're talking about composition, but before that, let's talk about the sponsors of the video, Storyblocks, who made this video possible. Literally, they made it possible. All these videos you're seeing, they look pretty amazing, right? Well, the truth is, I did not shoot them. These videos are shot by other talented videographers and I can use it in my video projects without worrying about any copyright issues. How? Storyblocks. I just have to search architecture, press enter, and now I have a huge list of videos to download from. I need 4K videos for my project. Go to resolution, 4K. You can select frame rate as well, and still you will have a lot of options. With the unlimited all access plan, you can download unlimited high quality videos, and I'm not kidding. Storyblocks has over 1 million assets to download from. And this was so helpful. Here in Montreal, it's so cold. Today morning, it was about minus 30 degrees Celsius and it's almost impossible for me to go out and shoot for hours and hours. But I need these videos to complete the video project. And that is where Storyblocks comes into the picture. Thanks a lot for helping. To learn more, go to storyblocks.com/Saurav. Talking about composition, when you're photographing architecture, you have to focus on 3 things: lines, shapes, and patterns. These are the pillars of architecture photography. The most used composition guidelines in architecture photography, according to my observation, is symmetry and leading lines, and there's a very good reason to it. When you have repetitive patterns or shapes in your images, symmetry makes them look even better because now the image is well balanced. I love using symmetry. If there's some kind of reflection, symmetry is the first choice in my mind. Leading lines guide the viewer's eye and makes the compositions even more appealing and dynamic. Just because symmetry and leading lines are good composition guidelines, that doesn't mean you always have to stick with it. These are just guidelines that will make the process of framing an image a bit easier. The reason I love using the 70-200 lens, as I said before, is it allows me to focus on the closer details of the architecture and create abstract images. This was the view from my iPhone with the standard lens, and this is the final shot of the same location at the same exact time. When you're exploring places, make sure you pay close attention to details. I took this shot at 200mm and rotated it to slightly make it even more confusing for a viewer to understand what exactly this is. The reason I did that is because I wanted to create an abstract image. These are actually the balconies of the buildings, but I wanted it to look like a bunch of stapler pins placed next to each other. When you focus on the closer details, you can create a lot of different abstract looking images. The benefit of using a zoom lens is that you don't have to roam a lot. You zoom in and now you can focus on the closer details. In terms of composition, keep it simple, avoid the distractions, only focus on the details. Next thing to keep in mind is time of the day and weather. The kind of shots that you will get on a bright sunny day are very different to those that you will get in an overcast situation or if it is snowing. Similarly, shooting in day or night makes a day and night of a difference. Pun intended. Talking about the weather, whenever I go out, I always check the weather predictions so that I'm well prepared and I know what kind of shots I'm expecting. I love shooting architecture once the sun starts to set and it gets darker. The reason for that is the presence of an extra element of the artificial lights which can make your images look much more interesting. I generally shoot during the blue hour because there's enough ambient light and also the artificial lights are turned on, you're getting best of both the worlds. The artificial lights are generally warmer, the ambience is a bit cooler, so there's good color contrast as well. One problem that you will face when shooting with artificial lights turned on is limited dynamic range. If you expose for the ambience, the lights are too bright and you don't have the details. Similarly, if you expose for the lights, the ambience gets too dark. The solution is exposure bracketing. If you don't know what exposure bracketing is, basically you're taking the same image with different exposure levels and later you're combining them in post to make sure that you have all the details. If you want to see how it's done, I have an old video about it. The link will be in the description. Make sure you're using a tripod, especially when shooting in low light, irrespective of whether or not you're shooting bracketed exposures. It helps to keep the ISO low, use a slower shutter speed, resulting in tack sharp images. That's it from this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope this video helped you, and next time you shoot architecture, you get better images. If this video helped you, press the like button. New to the channel, for more such high quality content, make sure you subscribe to the channel to support my channel. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.